Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Prague. This panel will have esteemed panelists, almost the same like last year. I will start with Jan Urbanec, who is the CEO of Endorfina. Then we have Jakub Kolomichenko from Kaizen Gaming. And we have Petr Kozák from Institute for Regulation of Gambling. So, when we met here last year, there was a lot of talk about possible changes to the gambling regulation in Czech Republic. No one knew exactly what will happen, whether it will happen at all or not. As the year progressed, there was a lot of uncertainty still, all the way until the end of last year. And only towards the end of the year, the parliament finally approved so-called recovery package, the main aim of which was to decrease the budget deficit by 150 billion Czech crowns, so quite a large number. And that recovery package consists of 65 or changes to 65 different laws, and one of them is the Gambling Act. So, as you can imagine, this was this was not a standalone project. This was part of a much bigger legislative work, and that came with certain limitations and with a less maybe focus on what could have been achieved if it was the main aim of the changes. Now, as with any kind of law, it can be great, it can be good, it can be very bad, and there were definitely some changes that we'll discuss that I think majority of the market participants consider to be beneficial for the market or to be good. Probably the main one is allowing live dealer games in the market. Then it's a certain strengthening of player protection mechanisms. Then also it's certain clarifications throughout the act and possible streamlining of application process and how the game plans are prepared. However, it will all depend also on how the regulator kind of approaches it, how they will how they will interpret it, because a lot of you will recall that in 2016, when the new act was adopted, there was a big hope that the market will open. On paper, everything seemed great. Then came certain interpretation issues by the regulator that didn't make the law look so great, and also the fact that there was a different act adopted at the same time, which was the change to AML Act, which basically forced the operators or put obligation on operators to identify players face to face. So it wasn't possible and still isn't possible to verify players remotely, except now there is a certain solution that was brought by a completely different change, which is the bank ID that the remote operators can use. Now, with this in mind, I would like to start with Mr. Petr Kozák, and there were certain changes also related to how the illegal gambling will be tackled, and how the black market kind of should be made smaller, because it still constitutes quite a big part of the market. Could you explain what are these changes, and in connection therewith also how the scope of the Gambling Act changed?
Okay, so good morning, everybody. Happy to be there with my colleagues again. Thanks for the introduction. And okay, we will start with illegal gambling. So this should be the positive change. I would like to say, because last year maybe it was more like we were complaining on ministry and on the law, and so I was thinking of, let's try to be positive this year and to show what is still like attractive on the Czech market and on the Czech regulation, because there are still quite a lot of light or clear points that can have sense to come to Czech Republic and try to run this business also in our country. When we take this big change, it was maybe said it will be bigger change and bigger switch than it's really in reality is appearing to be. Yeah, but the main thing is that before all the illegal gambling sites, now we will talk about the online gambling, it was quite very hard to fight with them, even for the state, for the customs administrations, for the Ministry of Finance, because there were a lot of criterions that have to be filled up just to be possible for the state to say, yes, this is illegal, and we can do something with it. We can find the subject and we can block the sites and so on. Usually it's quite impossible to find these subjects, because they are all they see just usually Curacao, some kind of a different remote islands and so on. So it was just that criterion was that it has to target the Czech Republic, and to target the Czech Republic, it meant that it has to be in Czech language, it has to be in a Czech currency, it has to target the Czech player, and possible to like make bets in the Czech rounds, and it's a lot of different criterions. And it was when some of these criterions was not fulfilled, they just say, no, this is not the illegal gambling according to the law, and we can't do anything with it. It's just out of scope of our jurisdiction, which made when we make some kind of researches, there was like when you took an online research, it was like 50% of all gambling can be found on the Czech internet. It was like 50%. Yes, it was really the half and half. So now we are expecting. We were doing within our institute some kind of a black book of illegal gambling, which was the analysis, which we wanted to attract the state and also the public also to this problem, because 50% is quite a lot. Now the ministry came with a change in the law, in the act, which is the switch from the criterion of targeting to the criterion of accessibility. So now it should mean that everything that is accessible for the Czech player from the Czech territory, and it has not the license from the Ministry of Finance, should be taken as an illegal gambling, and it should be blocked, but should be. The way is still quite not so easy that it seems. There is like the procedure of blockation, so to say, it's now easier, yeah. But still, there are a lot of unclarified things, and the scope of what should the customs administrations do, or what should the ministry do, and the problem that there are still like the mirror sites of already blocked sites still growing and booming like again and again, and trying to create more and more. So now it's just in the beginning. So the change is quite positive, and we will see how big the impact will be. We absolutely can't say now. We will see after 1 year, probably. The other positive thing is that it's also possible to block the advertising sites. So when there is a site that has the promotion or some kind of advertising or any like of gambling sites that does not have the license in the Czech Republic should be blocked too.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is really good.
Because previously the only way this kind of affiliates promoting sites were targeted under the prohibition of advertising of illegal games under the Advertising Act rather than the Gambling Act, right? So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Great. So in connection with this, and this relates to protection of players. So Jakub, maybe you can describe a bit what additional player protections were introduced and how you, as an operator, view it.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. Just a brief reaction to what Petr said. I'm also will try to be optimistic and not make this another complaining panel about the Czech regulator, which probably who knows me know that is one of my favorite things to do. But we have a March, end of March actually. How many of those sites has been blocked under the new law, comparing to how many investigation has been initiated against the license of operators? So, but let's keep the optimistic note. With the new law, there is a new instrument established. It's so-called panic button. In Czech Republic, we have a list of excluded persons, which is the database which is run by the regulator, and basically whoever is listed in this database will automatically not have access to log in or to make a registration in any licensed Czech casino, land-based or online. With this, what this panic button does is that this is a button which should be available on any player position, and when the player presses this button, he will get listed automatically for 48 hours into this list of excluded persons. So basically for 48 hours, this player will not have a possibility to engage in any sort of gaming activity online or land-based, which I think that we can all agree that very good for the players. Reasonably, it was mentioned that player cannot, there should be some reasonable protection for the players to not press it by accident. So there is quite a big debate what is actually being considered as a reasonable. But I think that there's some instrument which could be useful for some players when they basically get distracted in the gambling. So we certainly welcome that. We certainly welcome everything which can protect the players in unhealthy gaming activity. Yeah, and there's one but again, because we need to educate the players that if the player will get listed in this list of excluded person, there's a cooling period of 1 year. So we need to make sure that the player understands that once he gets in, it's not so easy to get out. So, and I think I went a bit step ahead of myself. There's one big change with this list of excluded persons, and it was that before this new law, there was the only way how the player will get into this list of excluded person was file out the form, in his intention, So he would have to find the form online, print it, fill it out, bring it to the notary, verify his signature, and send it over to the regulator. So that was rather not customer-friendly approach. So the new basically possibility will be that us, the operators, we will have access to this list of excluded persons, and basically the player can apply through our or any other operator's website to get listed into this list of excluded person. And one very important amendment, finally, after a lot of years of struggling, imagine that when it comes to responsible gambling here in Czech, the regulation is still at the very beginning. So until the new law, we basically didn't have a chance to block the player when we identified that he had a problem with the gambling. So we can only suggest to the player to take a break, to get listed, to apply for this list of excluded persons, etc. However, if us, the operators, impose the limits to the player or terminate the player account or give him a, excluded him for a while, we would be actually breaching the law, which is, if you think in the global spectrum, where everyone is pushing the responsible gambling protection, so that's quite funny. So finally, for the first time in the history, Czech operators will have a possibility to basically terminate the player account when we identify that the gambling can actually put the player in the danger of the health, mental or physical. So that's a very good development, finally, and very welcomed.
Great. Another question relates to the types of gambling operations that are regulated. In 2016-17, when the new law was adopted at the time, it was decided that only B2C operators will need a license, and that's how it has been to date. Jan, did anything change? Are the B2B operators now also required to get the license, or nothing changed? And would you suggest any changes if it was up to you?
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Prague. Happy to be here, like every year. I enjoy this question because every year our company, Endorfina, as a game supplier, as a part of the supply chain, enters more and more regulated markets. So we have this overview of several regulators, how reactive or proactive they are, how much pressure they put on the supplier, and how much pressure they put on the operator. The Czech regulators' approach is, in short, put so much pressure on the operator that the operator goes to the suppliers and asks for additional work, additional paperwork, and basically puts part of their agenda on the supplier chain, which is completely fine. But with the new law and the way which the regulation is going, at this stage, it would be much better if the Czech regulator would decide, okay, now we start requiring B2B licenses for the supply chain. Because we are so much involved in the process, but we are playing this, silent game of like, okay, you send me information through a channel, then the next channel send me information. By the time the information reaches our compliance team or our tech team, the information is a little bit skewed and the guys have to go back and forth. And at some point, we feel like it would be much easier for us to go to the ministry and ask them, guys, tell us the conditions, we fulfill them. Just ask. Because some regulators choose this way, and the only cost of the regulator is to expand the team. And I'm not talking like 20 people, I'm talking 1 or 2 people here and there. I can give you some examples of good regulation, but from the point of supplier, the good regulation is the regulation that requires only technical questions. First of all, they require game testing, and they don't require big changes in the software. Because at the end of the day, we as a supplier are focusing on the player entertainment, and we are focusing on the user interface, how easy is it to access the game, loading times, the experience itself. And if the regulator, like in UK, for example, decides to pressure the software in a way that basically requires a lot of money, time, and changes, then they put so much burden on the software that you are basically saying, either if you are a new player in the industry, you don't even have to bother to come here. At this stage for Endorfina, it would look like it's fine. We are like 10 years in the market. We get into so many regulated markets. It's good for us, but it feels like some regulators are overstepping. So if the Czech regulator would be interested, I would suggest they would ask some consultant on some good legal firm for consulting and start putting together a B2B draft.
Jakub, do you agree with it? For example, from your perspective as operator, you know, make things easier if.
On paper, on theoretical level, yes. With my experience, not really. We tried really hard with this law. With, especially the Institute of Jan Petr, they did really great job in talking to regulators, talking to politicians, explaining. It was tough work. And the result. It is what it is. I will use your famous line. It is what it is. So yeah, on theoretical level, yes, it would be nice. We would definitely welcome more clearly stated guidelines. The process of applying new games, it's crazy hard. We talked about it last year. This year it will be even worse because one of the things which happened was that it has been lowered the max bet limit for the internet games, which from the commercial perspective we don't really care. It's not such a big impact on the players. But from the administrative actions which are connected to this, it's one of the clear examples how one maybe well-thought idea without the knowledge of the consequences can ruin the lives of a lot of people.
So what does it involve? Does it involve change of all the game plans? Or
yes.
Yeah.
Changing the amount of the max bet here in Czech Republic, it's not like in other jurisdictions when there's basically the matter of the bet settings. For us, it's basically a whole new game. So providers need to recertify, we need to reintegrate, we need to also as operators recertify, we need to submit the game plans, which right now we have about between 800 to 1,000 games. So just our application to recertify all the games or the whole game portfolio will be about between 2,000 and 3,000 pages, which someone has to read. So good luck in processing that in time.
And that means obviously not only for you, but all the operators, right? Who
all the operators, of course. In the moment, I think, how many technical game licenses do we have? 26, if I'm not mistaken. So everyone needs to do it. And yeah, so ministry, the regulator, they hope that they should do it on time. We do see how the things are fast under current regime, so good luck in processing these applications.
And what is the time period? Until when does it have to be done? Is there any time period?
Yeah, there's a deadline, you know, till when we need to apply, so it's all right. But obviously, we are blocked until we will be fully under the new law. We basically are not able to do any development of the products, which would require a recertification. So we want, and also the live dealer games about which we will be talking later. So we obviously want to go under this new law as soon as possible, but this completely, I would say, useless administrative overload will delay it for a year, in my estimation.
And that obviously probably will have effect on any new market entrants, right, who will want to come in, because there is only certain amount of people that work at the regulator, at the ministry. So it's and the day only has 24 hours. So that's I think important message also for anyone wanting to enter the market, that there might be delays due to that. Okay, so now on a positive note, when you mentioned the live dealer games.
I try to be positive, I promise.
Oh, okay.
That was a positive one.
You should hear my negative feedback.
Good. Well, maybe on this one. So the way the regulation works in the Czech Republic is that the law states the types of games which are permitted. And it describes the types of games and the limitations on those games. Anything that doesn't fall under one of those games is forbidden. So whoever wants to operate a game that is not described in the Gambling Act would be kind of conducting an illegal activity. So whenever players want to access a product that is not specifically described in the Gambling Act, they ultimately end up playing with illegal operators if they want to play that product. One of those products until now was live dealer games that basically were not permitted until this change. Jakub, can you maybe describe how the regulation of the live dealer games was ultimately adopted, and what are the kind of even better, what are the specifics or what are the kind of quirks of the new regime?
Okay, so yes, that's a positive thing. The first thing that you were talking about, that it's not possible to introduce any other product or any other new game that doesn't fit the definitions of the law, it's not positive. This is quite a problem. Now it's the problem about crash games and skill games and new types that most of you maybe have already seen and so on. But the live dealer game, yes, when we start...
Because just to add on that, right, that there isn't any scope for the regulator, even if it's so, right, that the market is like, that really the players are desired to participate in that specific product. There is no flexibility for the regulator to do anything about it because they cannot change the law. So even if they have the opinion that it should be allowed, right, to target the illegal market, they cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, that's right. So that's the reason why the players who want the new products end up in the illegal gambling sites and so on. Yeah, and that was the situation with the live dealer games, the live casino. Like when we started discussions about the new Gambling Act, the position of the Ministry of Finance, we have to say, was absolutely 100% no to live dealer game. And then started a 2 years discussion of say why, and here's the arguments for why it shouldn't be and why it should be, why it shouldn't be a problem and why it's okay and why there is some demand on the market and so on. And we ended up with a, it's kind of a compromise. Yeah, we call it like a Czech way of doing the live dealer because it's not so easy, but I think it's not maybe some Croatian solution was quite near. But we will talk about it tomorrow. I think in Croatia the live dealer game regulation is not so successful when you look at how many operators are doing it. So you can look forward tomorrow for this discussion. And in the Czech Republic, it's the first thing. It's really good that is allowed. It's a new opportunity for everybody. The idea of the ministry was also like to somehow maybe encourage the land base, which is more and more like is screwed by the especially by the state and by the municipal regulations. And there are a lot of big cities and small like villages and so on, which has the absolute ban on gambling in the land-based sites. Yeah, online it's absolutely out of the scope. So this was why the live dealer game operation is connected and must be connected to the land-based studio. And the studio must be located in the land-based casino, which has the license from the state. So the possibility to make the live dealer game running with all this stuff and to have the place, the studio, the operator, the supplier, and so on, it's not so easy. So still, there are only just the negotiations between the big players, but no projects already running. Yeah, but it's new, and it will take at least like for half a year or something like this when we will see how this is possible with this regulation to really start doing it. So there's the need to have it in the land-based casino. Everything has to be manually done. So there is a kind of ban on any RNG, like the card shufflers and so on. Everything has to be done by the dealer. It is possible to make it also in other languages. There is not like a strict that is to be only in Czech. Even if you stream it like for outside or something like this, so that's no problem. And but on the other hand, in different point of view, it's just a live game as it was, but just streamed. And there will be a lot of things that is still anybody knows how it will go. The first like big question, or it's a riddle, will be the certification. Still, it's not very very clear what will be certified, what has to be the first, and if everything has to be done and prepared on the site already with all the cameras and so on. So this is, yeah, there is a big opportunity. Now we will see how it will end up in the Czech Republic and who will be the first and how the process will speed up after the first maybe license. But the biggest question is, for me, is where to do it. Because when you know the situation in Prague, which is like the first place and the main city, you according to like when you want some stuff and so on. So there is still a big question mark about Prague, if the gambling will be allowed here, or if at least the live games will be allowed, because now the technical games are absolutely banned, and now the live games in some parts can be, but this decree is now under a review of the ministries and so on, and on the courts. So
And now you're talking about the bans by the municipalities, right?
yes, yes, exactly. So the big question is, will we have the sites and the places where actually to put the studio and from where to like run this like kind of a wonderful project.
Good. Then one of the advantages of the market for the operators is that the advertising of the gambling games was not or is not so strictly limited in media as in some other jurisdictions. There was obviously discussion whether to make the the regulation tougher or not. Are there any changes, Jan, to the advertising of the games, or everything stayed as it was?
Well, from our point of view, nothing arrived to us that there will be some critical changes. So, for example, we were exploring at one point the opportunity to advertise the Endorfina brand on some events that I don't want to mention because the opportunity is still on the table. But the truth is that due to us never advertising here in the Czech Republic as a gambling company, we decided to let it go because we didn't know what would it entice, because we just don't have the experience in that. But I can say from our point of view, from the overview, when we see all the operators that are in touch with us and want to include our games, I see that most of them are happy that there is this like open field of advertisement. But at the same time, I can feel that they are looking for ways how to not bypass, but how to create new opportunities that are legal. So let me give you an example that I was made aware a few days ago. So the biggest sports betting website, Tipsport, here in the Czech Republic, recently launched an option for players to deposit in crypto. But the way how they framed it is very smart in terms of business and marketing. They framed it as we are opening the exchange part of the website and investment part. This is not deposit crypto for gambling. This is come to our website and exchange. And it's very easy. You can switch it to Czech crowns. You can get it back to your bank account. No hassle. And anybody who is in the crypto community understands that moving money around in exchanges, moving it to the bank account, you as a physical person, you may have trouble by receiving Czech crowns that came from an exchange. But if you receive Czech crowns coming from Tipsport, who knows? Like, was the exchange? Was it a winning? You know, it's a very good alternation point. And now there is door opened for Tipsport to advertise as a crypto exchange, crypto investment opportunity. And now we're talking about different legal framework. I'm not sure if they explored the legal part of it, and I don't want to endorse it like a 100% bulletproof strategy because it's the first one in the market. But I feel this is the way they are going. So I think this is the way to advertise and way to innovate. And to be honest, it's a good idea because if you look at the gray and black market operators, they have so many tools at their disposal that they can use, and they can go crazy with advertisement, and they can lie directly in their advertisement. So I think this would be the best way how to go about it and get a different vertical that is basically more friendly in the eyes of the state. Maybe this is the way.
Just there was a small, not small, big change, which is not connected to the Advertising Act and to the advertising, but there is one change, and this is the bonus promotion in the Czech Republic now with the new act, so to say, in new decree, which there is a ban on some kind of bonuses, which are called the risk bonuses, and so they cannot be promoted, they cannot be advertised, and then cannot be even given to the players, especially. In fact, it bans the tournaments between players, especially on technical games. For example, as we know it from online casino, like Vegas plays and so on. It's everything that is pushing players to so to say, bet more than the others and so on. It's now forbidden, and also when someone who promotes says that he doesn't want any promotion like these kinds of bonus offers and so on after canceling his account and so on. In general, yes, this is the big changes at bonus restriction, which is not through the Advertising Act but through the gambling legislation. Yeah.
Now, obviously, one of the big marketing tools of the operators is the introductory bonuses, and there was a discussion, right, that those would be banned. Was it adopted at the end, or something changed during the process?
If I can react on this one, yes, obviously the acquisition bonus, especially for someone who's coming to the market, which is quite saturated with 2-3 major players, this is a must, and this is. I will finally be optimistic. This is something which is very beneficial in Czech Republic at the moment, that comparing to other jurisdictions where we do have those large advertising bans, where we have the limitation of the bonuses by the amount, by the limits of the spendings, etc., we are still relatively flexible in this matter. The bonus decree which has been introduced, which makes some bonuses risky and therefore illegal, it's quite reasonable. Well, we had to sacrifice the tournaments where the players basically are not allowed to compete against each other in order to receive the bonus. All right, fair enough. If this is the price, we are more than happy to pay it. There is one a bit explanation mark with this, and it is that the bonuses are newly can be amended only by the ministry decree, not by the change of the law, which sort of, in our opinion, gave a large power to the hands of the regulator, that within 3 months they can, or few months, I don't know how it's gonna take them, but they can be more flexible in adjusting the amount of the bonuses or in any sort of bonus regulation, which sometimes they probably don't see the tech or commercial effort behind this. Everything is budgeted, everything is planned. So this is one explanation mark for me for the future, but I would rarely say that, but job well done with this risk bonuses regulation.
Good, and maybe now, at least for the operators and maybe for the players, not so great news is the changes in taxing of both the operators, the gambling tax increase, and the changes how the players' winnings are taxed. Petr, maybe you can describe what changed.
Yeah, so briefly, the taxation of operators and the gambling tax, that's something that everybody was expecting because of the situation and budgetary situation of the state. Still, we were fighting against it quite a lot, but now I think we are on the maximum in the technical games. The situation does not change; it's still 35%. And in lotteries, it's still 35.
And that is the amount, right, that the ministry views as a kind of the threshold, right, above which it wouldn't be efficient kind of to increase it because the tax collected would basically decrease.
We think that the threshold is much lower, at least like 10%.
Lower. That's why I said according to the ministry.
Yeah, but yeah, and all other games like the live games, the sports book, and so on was increased from 23 to 30%. Yeah, so it's quite huge,
substantial.
Yeah. So and the other thing, which was a bigger surprise for everybody, is the taxation of player winnings, because by the current Minister of Finance, when this idea came first, he was saying that it's absolutely stupid idea. And he was giving the same arguments that now we were using against this, but he was now the one who was standing for it and saying, yes, let's do this taxation of players' winnings. And it's quite significant change, because it was the threshold was 1 million, now it's 50,000 crowns only, and everything above this must be. It goes within the lotteries and so on. It's the withhold tax, and the more absurd things or more difficult situation for the players is now that all other types of games, you have to count your winnings and deposits, and then the things that are between. Yeah, when this. You have to make the tax, how is to say, the tax pronouncement or something like this. Yeah,
the tax declaration.
Yeah, the tax declaration. That's right. So it's on players. Yeah. So there is a big question: who will do it? How successfully they will do it, or if they just won't make the declaration. It's quite of a big burden on the players, and that's the other thing that really makes this Czech legal gambling less attractive than, of course, the foreign illegal gambling sites, because that's...
Yeah, let me just react there. If you think it's a big burden on the players, so guess to who they will transfer this burden, because we are already now getting a lot of questions from the players. Oh, what's my current status? How much do I have to pay when I have to pay it, etc. So there's a lot of confusion on the market because of this tax. And let's face it, the house always usually wins. So I don't expect any huge income to the state treasury from this kind of tax. And yes, the state has all the data, because everything is being reported. So if they have a tools to basically calculate it and merge it together, which will be quite significant project for them to develop. So yeah, they would be able to identify those players who are, eligible for the tax, but I don't think the solution is here at the moment. And such effort, it's a big IT project to merge all those data and to get a bulletproof result. So I don't think that it will actually be profitable if you compare how much you will collect from this kind of tax and how much such a project will probably cost, and not to mention even the enforcement, etc. So yeah, it was a nice PR stunt because it was introduced in this tax consolidation package, but once again, the real life implication, I don't see that optimistic.
Yes, because it can basically make the legal, right, and authorized games less attractive for the players, because the players kind of know that the state has access, right, to how much they win, how much they lose, how much should they ultimately tax, whereas with the illegal gambling there is no such data available.
The only plus side which I see on this from the operator's perspective is that it will hopefully prevent the players from making more player accounts on their relatives, friends, etc. Because now the relative which will be asked, hey, can I open a bank account, the player account on you? Before this, it would be, yeah, sure, why not? And now it will be, oh, hold on a second, shouldn't I pay some taxes out of this? So
If they know.
if they know, but we need to spread the information.
Good. Well, thank you very much, yeah, I'll leave it to you.
Thank you so much.